submission attempts. Were you going for them 110%? Did you hold back, not wanting to break his arm?
No, I hold back. I want him to stand up, and I know. Of course not. I wanted to go 100%. I fight to break, you know.
You did try to.
No, of course. I want to finish him. You know what I mean? I was like full extent, but I just came back from my locker room and I did a technical mistake that my trainer John Denner and just show me, and we had a discussion, and I just now it's fresh in my head. I know what I did wrong, and it won't happen next time.
Question for Dana. Then, if people are online or complaining about this main event, does that make you perhaps less likely to, apologies to John, put him up against a wrestler next time?
Does it do what?
Does it make you less likely to put him up against a wrestler, or even to have him fight another 170 guy to try to push the silver fight?
Listen, the funny thing, this whole question started earlier about Floyd Mayweather. Let me tell you what. Every one of Floyd Mayweather's fights are like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes in this sport, you're going to have, listen, not every fight on the card is going to be the greatest fight in the world. It's not going to be the greatest fight you've ever seen. It happens sometimes. But we have a big enough card where there were some great fights tonight. You know, so you don't turn off your TV and you're completely disappointed. Like, man, the whole night sucked. UFC 33 is the only one I can remember where every fight sucked. Listen, like I said earlier, you know, he had a strategy. The strategy wasn't to stand up with Dan Hardy, and he went in and fought his fight. Could have been stopped twice by submission, but Dan Hardy is tough as hell and wouldn't tap. So no, we'd never go, So at the last show, this happened. We're going to put guys in against the best guys in the world, the best against the best, no matter what their style is.
George, were you surprised that the fight actually did go to 5 rounds? And talk about your performance and Dan Hardy's just willingness not to give up.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not happy about my performance. I won the fight, but it's like to make a similarity. It's like a sprinter, 100-meter sprinter who's world champion. Sprint, he win the 100-meter, let's say in 10 seconds. And if in a few months later, he have another race, he win again the race, but he win in 10 seconds still. So he won't be happy. He's still world champion, but he haven't beat his time. It's a little bit the same thing that happened to me tonight. I won, but I haven't beat my performance of last time. So I'm not happy. I wanted to finish, you know, have a clean win. And for me, like this, it's not clean. You know, I tried too much to go for the submission instead of, I should have, you know, they say in boxing, they have a saying, if you go for the knockout doesn't come. It's the same thing that happened in mixed martial arts. And if you go too much for the submission doesn't come. You have to let the opportunity come. And tonight I tried to, sometimes I had a position I tried to use too much because again, I'm a lot more powerful and I'm more bigger than I was. So I try sometimes to power out some armbar, some kimura and armbar, and I forgot the technical element of it. And sometimes those little details make the difference, like the angle and the leverage, the way you're positioning. Sometimes that's what makes the finish. And tonight when I had the kimura, I made a mistake, a technical mistake that Dan Hardy had. The armbar was not as tight as it should be, you know. And next time it won't happen. Now I know what I did wrong.
Just curious if John explained if one of those was the basic element of pinching the knees when you had the armbar.
Pinching the knees.
When you pinch the knees around the elbow, and then you've got his elbow on your cup. Is that the one thing he was talking about, John?
What are you talking about?
No, the reason what the kimura, right? The kimura didn't work. It's because the leverage I was using the armbar with was not like I didn't have the right angle and the right position with my legs, and Hardy was able to walk and follow the angle of and follow the way where I was pushing the arm. So his hips was not stabilized and on the ground, so he was able to move and follow the way I was going with the arm. So that's why I didn't finish it. But during the action, I didn't understand why. I was like completely like full 100% strength. I try as much as I can. Even at one point, I was like, man, I think I broke his shoulder. And then one time I thought I broke his arm when I had the Juji get at me. I heard like click, click, you know, he was completely extended, but I did some little mistake. Because sometimes in training, when I have a guy like this, he's gonna tap, because in training it's different than a fight, but in a fight we need this little extra detail that makes the difference to take the guy out, and tonight I learned this.
George over here.
Yes.
You seem like a guy who really loves the challenge and you love to compete, and I'm just wondering if you start going through these guys a second time, will that be something that excites you, or will you start looking for something else if you start to go through competitors for a second time?
It's never the same competitor. Like, let's say I fight this, it's never the same guy.
Well, if it does start turning into the same guy, though, John gets another shot at you, if Koscheck gets done.
He's not the same guy that he was when I fought him the first time. He's a much, much better improved version. And I'm not the same guy that I was when I fought him as well. It's going to be a different fight, and I'm going to have to think about different things, and then maybe use a different strategy. You know what I mean? So it's always a different situation.
So that challenge of going through these guys again, it still excites you?
The way I fight, it's very scientific. I always, my goal is to win. Like tonight, my goal is to win. And I didn't want to engage the battle where my opponent is the strongest. I wanted to fight him where he is the weakest. Even though I could probably have stand up with Hardy, it's mathematic. If I would have stand up with Hardy, his stand up, even though I think, I believe my stand up is superior, but it could have been a risk because that's his main asset. If I go on the ground, I knew my ground was much better than his. So it was smarter for me to go on the ground and take the fight where he's the weakest. And that's how I fight. I want to have a long career, and I want to be champion for a long time, and I want to be the greatest. I wanted to take him out tonight. I wanted to take him out, and to take him out, I had to fight him where he was the weakest. But I did it, unfortunately.
George, to your right. You've talked about fighting for a legacy. What's more difficult, fighting to become champion, fighting to keep your championship, or fighting for a legacy?
Tonight, for example, I keep my championship, but I didn't fight for a legacy. This fight is not going to be remembered. You know what I mean? I want to win in a beautiful fashion way. I want when a guy who doesn't know nothing about mixed martial art turn his TV on and see me fight. I want him to I want him to tell his friends, hey, I saw this guy fight. He was like, I didn't understand what he was doing, but the technique that he used, it was beautiful. And that's what I want the people say when I fight. I want to attract more people into MMA. I want people being interested about mixed martial art.
George, can I ask you, congratulations on your victory. Before you arrived, Dana was saying that Dan Hardy perhaps showed something tonight.
I'm sorry.
Before you arrived, Dana was saying that Dan Hardy showed something tonight that maybe he could be a champion in the future. I wonder if obviously you're the champion, so you don't see him in that way, but did you see qualities in Hardy tonight that you didn't expect having fought him?
Absolutely, and I think if he still keep training hard and improving, we might fight in the future again. And I even told him, I said, I congratulate him because at his first title shot, he did much better than I did back then. When I fought Matt Hughes the first time, I lost. I've been submitted in the first round, if you remember that. And him, it's his first title shot, and he was there for 5 rounds. So I said to him, I said, keep your head up, and you did much better than I did when I had my first title shot. And he's a lot better than I thought he was. He has great escape on the ground, and he's a great striker, and he just maybe need to sharpen his ground a little bit, and I'm sure he's going to come back stronger in the next fight.